the contrast becomes greater. When you meditate, you develop an experience of calm and peace. And when we then, which we always do, flip back into reactivity and thinking mode, then this, is going to be experienced even more harshly than before because of the contrast. Because you're starting to cultivate now an experience of calm, an experience of contentment, of stillness, of quiet. When you leave that and go back into thinking again, into resisting, into controlling and trying, it can feel really intense, because that contrast gets greater and greater as your experience of peace deepens, as you become more stable within that experience of peace. Then the minute you leave it, you go back into thinking again, which happens, it's a very, very strong habit to think. We've operated our entire lives through thinking, and so we go back and forth. It's like a dance, and just like a dance, when we watch people, stepping backwards as part of the dance, we don't judge that as wrong, do we? Like, oh God, they're going backwards, it's behind or less than or failing in some way. It's part of the dance. And so I like to look at it in that way, that backward step that it sometimes feels like when the contrast feels so uncomfortable when we're thinking again or reacting. We kind of judge that as wrong because it doesn't feel good. So if something doesn't feel good, it must be wrong, right? But that's not true, and actually, what we're doing here is we're strengthening an awareness muscle, so that we become more attentive to the backdrop of peace for more of our day. And so, the going into the experience is beautiful. We're starting to recognize it more clearly, but then the going back into thinking again, it's just like exercising a muscle, the expansion and the contraction is part of strengthening. And so we need that to happen in a way. So don't worry if you have a meditation practice and you're you have times where it just feels like the meditation's not working, or life's taken over and it's just like, where's my peace? I can't find my peace right now. It's just because that you flip back into thinking and reactivity mode. And actually, the moment you notice that that's what you're doing, that you are in fact thinking, you become more alert, more attentive, more aware, and then all you got to do is make the choice. And you can only choose when you notice, by the way. So don't worry about, if you spend all day thinking and struggling and battling. The minute you notice and you go, oh, I've just been doing that all day long, then you can choose. And if you only make it about the times that you choose, then very quickly that habit is retrained so that you are focusing on what you want more of. You want more of the peace, right? So yeah, make that more important. Celebrate every time you notice that you've been thinking as a win, because previously, before you started meditating, you would have just been stuck in that experience, with no way out. Now you have a choice, and all you've got to do is make the choice again and again and again. And the choice becomes more important to make, because that contrast gets greater and greater. But actually, it then becomes easier to make because it's so uncomfortable. It flags up more in our attention. So we see it, we don't want that. So then we can choose again. We can come back to the meditation technique, come back to an awareness of silence now if you are able to do that. And just keep doing that until it sticks, until it stays and it becomes more sustainable. It becomes more permanent in your experience as you make the choice to return in this moment more important. And any given moment that you don't feel like you can choose for that, use your meditation techniques and just, surf the experience that you're having. That experience will always come back to peace again. But, when there's a lot of stress releasing, all that stuff that we hold on to, that kind of needs to be let go of. And as that's releasing, sometimes the experience is uncomfortable. Meditation isn't always about having an experience of peace while you're meditating. You might actually have some uncomfortable experiences. And particularly, as I've said, that contrast gets greater and greater. So let that just be a signpost, so that you recognize that your attention is on thinking again, on reacting, and just come back with your meditation technique and see, and let that meditation technique do the job for you, so that you can start to stabilize and create a sustainable experience of peace.